Human innovation has the power to hurt or heal nature. As cities become bigger and better connected, it becomes more dangerous for animals to move around. In Costa Rica, some organizations are finding ways to teach animals and humans how to survive together. Journey with our 3 adventurers as they visit the campus of Kids Saving the Rainforest and learn how 2 kids started an initiative that saves hundreds of animals each year. An organization that now invites other children to learn how simple ideas can preserve an entire species.
You see them all over Costa Rica, these blue ropes that go across the roads so that they have a safe way to get across the road.
And observe some monkey mischief up close.
Oh no, it's so crispy.
It's been a few years since we've traveled together. There's still so much yet to be discovered.
Human beings can be so cruel towards so many animals.
When you have the opportunity to look into their eyes, to know their stories.
Animals that are rescued here can be released into the wild again, where they're really meant to live. I hope people get inspired and treat animals with more care and respect.
Manuel Antonio National Park is a protected area on Costa Rica's western coast. Just outside of the park lies an animal rescue effort with a unique name and an even more unique story. Gabi, Castle and Caro have come to learn about the Kids Saving the Rainforest Wildlife Sanctuary. But first, they'll hear about the tragic stories of some of the animals that live here.
Hi, welcome to Kids Saving the Rainforest.
Thank you so much.
I'm Monica.
I'm Gabi.
Hi, Caro.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, come with me, I'll show you some animals.
All right, great.
Kids Saving the Rainforest, or KSTR, rescues more than 200 injured and abused animals each year. Some are rehabilitated and released, while others need to remain in the safety of the animal sanctuary.
Out of the 4 species of monkey that we have in Costa Rica, the howlers, the spider monkeys, the squirrel monkeys, and the whiteface, we actually have one of each of them apart from the howlers for various different reasons. Like the spider monkeys, he was kept as a pet, very bad conditions, no protection from sun or the water. He's fine now, he lives in the sanctuary, but he's a lot happier. He's a very rambunctious 7-year-old. We have a load of titis as well. We actually have ones that we released on site, one of which we now think is pregnant. So we've definitely helped the numbers go up because those are our monkeys out there.
Yeah.
In the whiteface as well, we have 2 that used to be captive. One was chained up to a hotel. They're very intelligent, so they have things that they don't like. The male has a problem with reflective sunglasses. So we think his owner must have treated him badly and worn the sunglasses because he's made a bad association there.
Right, okay.
If you're ready to see him, I can take you down.
Yeah, I'd like to. Go. Thank you.
So these ones here, these are the white-faced monkeys, the carablancas. They're capuchins. We've got 2. We've got the male, Hector, and we have the female, Hugo. They were both kept by humans. So Hector, he was a pet, but then he got aggressive when he hit maturity, so he came to here. Hugo, she was actually in a hotel. She was chained to the hotel, basically as an attraction, like, oh, come and look at this monkey. So just very miserable life, and you can see she's actually pretty playful. She likes to run around with a bucket making noise on top of here. One of the things that she really likes is this mirror.
What about it?
She likes to look at herself. She recognizes herself. And she makes faces at it. She sticks her tongue out like, ah, or she'll have 2 pieces of fruit that she'll watch herself eating.
Maybe we can try. Maybe she reacts to the mirror.
She's more interested in cooling down.
Yeah. It's the funniest thing, she actually managed to break out once. She managed to make a hole, but there used to be a tub here with this mirror on it, and she broke out literally to look at herself in the mirror. She picked it up and she was doing all of this, and she decided that she was going to, yeah, honestly, she decided that she wanted the mirror and grabbed it to try and bring it back in with her. These guys get taken a lot because they're beautiful and they're very intelligent. So they get taken a lot, but then they are very aggressive by nature. And they have very big teeth, they're very strong. So they don't make good pets anymore. They obviously wouldn't make a good pet.
Yeah,
or
but
a
once
circus
they get
attraction.
used to humans, you cannot release them anymore, right?
Well, these guys, they've been in captivity their whole lives. And they're adults, so they don't know anything else.
And they're so intelligent, they should just live in the wild and
Yeah, no, they
stay
really
there.
are. They've actually, in the national park, they've been known to use a baton as a weapon against a snake. So they were defending themselves with a tool, which is pretty fascinating. So these are the titi monkeys, or actually they're actually squirrel monkeys, but the Costa Ricans have nicknamed them titi monkeys. Term of endearment.
So you get a lot of them in Costa Rica?
Well, their numbers are going up and up because a few years ago they were down to about 1,200, which is insanely low. If you get down past 1,000, then that's considered a big problem.
Isn't it they would inbreed if you go down in numbers?
Well, they'd have no choice by the end of it. It's because they couldn't get to each other's troops because they kept getting electrocuted from the cables that go across the roads. But we introduced a monkey bridge program.
Oh, what's that?
It's you see them all over Costa Rica. These blue ropes that go across the roads, so that they know they have a safe way to get across the road. And we put up cameras once to make sure that they were actually being used. And it turns out it's not just these guys that use them. We've seen porcupines on them. We saw a snake on one.
Okay. So how are the numbers developing?
Well, now they're up to over 3,500. So I think it's 3,800 now. Yeah, so it's massively increased. And we do predator tests on everyone before they get released. So that's for these guys, it would be like the smell of hawks and dogs and stuff like this. So you get their scent onto sheets and stuff, and you put it in.
We saw some outside.
Yeah, because these guys failed those because you're supposed to start making alarm calls and backing away from the cloth. They still went over it to eat their food and then started playing with it. So like completely the wrong. It was awful. But the guys that are outside, they actually used to live in here, and they passed with flying colours. And then you do another test to make sure that they can jump the distances because otherwise they'll get left behind. Because they can jump crazy distances.
Are they capable of learning from the other monkeys?
We hoped that they would, but they're pretty determined to stay here. They're not learning, but they are intelligent. Their brain to body ratio is actually one of the biggest for this kind of monkey. So they're intelligent. They can learn by observation. I gave them a spider to eat, so it's like little bits of protein. Wow. We do it with the kids, like going around collecting spiders and giving them to the monkeys. But I gave it to Manny, and there was an older monkey that was next to him, and he ate it like, yes, give me this. But Manny just went, look.
What's happening here?
Why is this moving? But after a while of watching the other one eat it and nothing bad happening, he kind of tempted me like, do I bite this? It was very sweet to watch.
So once you oh no, it's so crispy. I can't believe it. I'm learning that the squirrel monkeys, the population went up after they did something for them. That was really encouraging to see that, because yes, I know we cannot save all the animals, but still we can make a difference. We can do something. So I think we should, everyone should find a place where he or she could take care of animals, environment, and to respond to that call.
KSTR started with a young girl named Janine who grew up surrounded by nature.
It started because my daughter was 3 years old and her dad died suddenly, my husband, of a heart attack, and I said, I want to make a good life for my daughter. So I looked around the world where I could make a good life for her.
Costa Ricans love to use the expression pura vida. It means pure life, and that's exactly what Jennifer and Janine found when they moved to Costa Rica.
I just wanted a natural life for her. There were no stores, so she picked up things and she made things with them and she played with nature. When she was 9, she was making these things on the side of the road with her friend, and tourists started to come. And she saw around her that the rainforest was being cut down. So did her friend, and so the two of them were like, we have to do something. So they made $80 selling painted rocks. And with that $80, I matched it. And over in the Nicoya Peninsula, they were adopting rainforest for $40 an acre. So we adopted 4 acres, and I said to them, let's go over and see where this rainforest is. And we got there, and the organization wasn't very real, and they didn't know where the money had gone, if it had gone to administration. And so it was very sad for them to have seen that. So on the way back, it was a 7-hour drive. I said, well, what can you do to change something like that?
So Janine and her friends started their own project, selling their art to tourists and raising money to plant trees. Today, KSTR accepts kids from around the world as members and has planted more than 7,000 trees.
We don't want kids to have to pay to be a member, so they have to do a project. And we have 8 projects. They can do one of 8 projects in order to become a member. And so they are saving the rainforest wherever they live. We had a guy in India that wanted to become a member, and he had learned how to go into a house and take a king cobra, grab it, and take it out and put it in the rainforest rather than killing it, into people's houses. And I thought that was a really cool way to become a member of Kids Saving the Rainforest.
Janine eventually moved to the United States to attend college, but still plays an active role in KSTR. She works closely with the organization's Wildlife Rehabilitation and Educational Center.
It was wonderful because in my heart, I was hoping. But I didn't want to be one of those mothers that forces their kids, so I just let it go. And it was great. All through her life, we've done that.
When I saw the name of the place, Kids Saving the Rainforest, oh, how I wish my son could or can. And, it depends on me, on his father, the education we give him to learn to love and to respect God's creation. I'm gonna make sure I do my best so he really understands the meaning of respect our planet.
The sloth has grown in popularity, and fascination with these animals continues to increase as we learn more about them, especially in Costa Rica. Unique features such as long claws and camouflaged fur make them well suited for their home hanging in the treetops. Researchers have even discovered that sloth fur supports a complex biodiversity of living things. It's no wonder that they are vital to the well-being of the rainforest. But despite these fascinating facts, there is still much we don't know about sloths. Today, Gabi, Kassel and Caro are getting a chance to see rescued sloths up close, including a rare encounter with a fragile baby 3-toed sloth. And they'll learn what research still needs to be done to make sure this little guy has the best chance of returning to his natural habitat. Just how much is yet to be discovered on our planet? Every year, scientists report more than 15,000 new species. Some experts are worried that many animals, insects, and plants could go extinct before they are even discovered. And then there are the species we do know about, but not completely. And it's not just the obscure ones living leagues under the sea. Today, our 3 adventurers are learning from staff at an animal rescue project called Kids Saving the Rainforest. But Gabi, Kassel and Caro are discovering there's so much to learn even for the experts.
The sloths are the most unusual animal, and there's not enough information on sloths, okay? And the process is we get a lot of babies here and we go all the way through in terms of releasing. And it's so important to know more about sloths, particularly to focus on two things. One, baby sloths, okay, that come in less than a month old. And the second thing is the release.
The main threat sloths face is from humans removing trees from their habitat. Sloths use trees as a source of food and shelter from predators. They spend nearly all of their time in trees, only coming to the ground about once each week to relieve themselves. Sloths are also killed or injured while climbing on suspended power lines, common in many countries. Kids Saving the Rainforest runs a rehabilitation and release program for injured and abandoned sloths. Other sloths call KSTR's Wildlife Sanctuary their permanent home, bringing awareness to visiting humans about what they can do to help.
These are the two-toed sloths that we have in here. There's actually 3 of them, but 2 of them are having a little sleep, seeing as these guys are actually nocturnal.
Right.
You can see Phoebe up there. She's the biggest and blondest one.
Okay. So they're not going to be released?
No, these guys actually come from another sanctuary in the Caribbean side, the sloth sanctuary. But they have saved so many so far that they've running out of space. So we said that we'd take some of them just so that these guys can have a good home, just like all the rest of them.
So there are 2-toed sloths and 3-toed sloths?
Yeah, well, you can see their feet. I mean, they have 2 claws on their hands, but they have 3 on their toes, just like the 3-toed sloth. So really, they should be called 2-fingered and 3-fingered. But they're actually very different species. I mean, these guys, they have molars and pseudo-canines. The 3-toes, they just have molars and premolars. So they can only eat leaves, whereas these guys, they can eat other foods if resources are down. Like, they've been known to eat birds' eggs. But they've got very good camouflage. Not in captivity, because you can see they're very clean, but normally they look more greyish blue because of all the moss that grows on them. They actually also have moths that live in the crevices of their hair.
Oh.
Yeah, and
their
I think
faces are different from their. We saw 2 with different faces, like
yeah,
with the
the
nose.
3-toed sloth, they have the dark lines like a raccoon because they have 2 types of hair, whereas these guys, they just have 1 type, so they only have 1 colour. I mean, the colours vary. These guys are a lot darker than she is, but they just have 1 type of hair, whereas the 3-toads have 2.
Yeah. Oh, they're so beautiful.
For me, it was interesting to know that the 3-finger sloth, they cannot live in captivity much time. They don't know why yet. And also, a lot of animals in here, they don't know how long they live. So for me, it made me think that there's so many things that we don't know about animals. Sometimes we think we know a lot and there's scientists and everything, but there's a lot to know.
To many people, sloths look similar to monkeys, but they are actually more closely related to anteaters. Anteaters, too, are a part of KSTR's wildlife rehabilitation program. These creatures come in several species, from anteaters as small as a rodent up to anteaters over 2 meters long.
So this is B-Rad. He's a baby 3-toed sloth. He came in pretty early. He still had remnants of an umbilical cord, so he got abandoned pretty early. Probably the same day. Yeah, they're not normally this small. This is at 3 months. He should be a lot bigger than this.
Like double the size?
Maybe, yeah. About double the
Really?
size.
Wow.
Yeah, so we think he was premature, or a twin, or both, because he's just so tiny. And he came in so very young, without any injuries. The story that we got told was that he, a group of white-faced monkeys was playing with him.
Oh.
I don't honestly believe that, because white-faced monkeys, if they have a hold of something, they'll be rushing it around. And he would have had a broken arm or a broken rib or something, and he didn't have anything.
Shame. And how do you know it's a male?
Well, it's got the line down here, and it's a lot more pronounced in males than it is in females. So we think that it's probably a male.
And that's a 3-toed.
Yes, you can see, unlike the other ones, these guys have 3 little claws. And that's on both their hands and their feet.
Right.
And they have 2 types of hair, unlike the other ones that just have 1 type of hair.
And do you think he has any chance of going back to the wild?
Yeah, I mean, we have to look after them so much. and you'd be worried that they kind of imprint on you or whatever, but because as they get older, they get independent, that's not really the issue. It's just if he manages to get to the age where he can be released. Because three-toed sloths are a lot more delicate than two-toeds.
So how old would he have to be if everything goes okay before
About a year and a half. Because they stay with their mothers. They stay on their mothers for the first 6 months.
Oh, wow.
It was so special for me to see a premature baby sloth. To see how, during 6 months, how they need to stay on the back of their mother, even though they can grab some leaves and eat, but they still need to hold on to mommy for 6 months.
So you keep him on the pad so he feels like he's like on his mother?
Their whole job is to cling on to something. And one of the reasons that the sloths can get abandoned is because they don't hold on, so they fall, and the mother thinks, right, you're just too weak. I'm not coming to get you. But so they want to cling on to something at all times.
Right. Maybe we should take him back to the nursery then to give him some peace.
Give him some milk, some love.
We have a lofty vision, and that is to really expand on education. Right now we do tours and stuff, and we do some education. In the summer we get more groups of students that come from universities all over the world, and they come and spend 4 or 5 days here, and we educate them with veterinarians and biologists and all this stuff. And we would just, can you imagine educating people here? People spending a month, 2 months, 3 months here, studying the biodiversity, studying animals, even going into scientific stuff like being a vet, all right? That's where we really would like to do.
Today I spent a little bit of time thinking in how many discoveries I had so far during this trip, how many lessons I learned, and how little I know, and how much more there is to learn about so many animals, about how to release them in the wild, what we can do for them to live more and to live better, so our next generation, the children and the children of our children, might be able to see them as well, to appreciate them and to love them. There's so much more to do. There's so much to do. I was thinking that each one of us should try to learn each day a little bit more about it.